All right, y'all. Okay, so I have a slab up here, and one side, one light on, not that light, that light. This side has a little bit of weird like marks because I had it wrapped in plastic so it wouldn't dry, and the other side has canvas on it, so I'm just going to use my rubber rib and just lightly erase it. I don't want to add a whole lot of pressure, but just enough to smooth it out. And I'm going one direction and then the other, and I'm going to flip it over. And a lot of students forget to do the other side. Alright, and I'm just going to use the rib again. And these big red ones, or even the smaller red ones, work great. I'm just going to go one direction, then the other. You might have to go a couple of times just so it's smooth. Okay, that looks pretty good. Alright, so I'm using this template right here. It's kind of shaped like this, so if I form it, I'm going to cut it out, and if I form it into a cup, I could have a cup that looks like that, like it's narrow at the top, or I could have it like that. So it'll be like this way or this way. Alright, and I'm going to position this on here so I have enough to do a bottom. Now some of you, when you roll out your piece, you may have enough to do 2 mugs if you want to make 2 for an extra gift for somebody. So this one, technically, I guess I could probably do 1 and then maybe do another one, but I'm just going to do 1 right now. So I'm just going to lay out my template, and I'm just going to use a needle tool, and I'm cutting it straight down all the way around. So straight, and just kind of hold on to it so it doesn't slip. Okay, like so. Move that out of the way. I'm going to cut some of this extra stuff off. So these little bits I could save to make something else, or maybe my handle. And I'm going to move this out of the way for right now. So now I have what I cut out. So my clay, it's stiffened up. If you notice, it's perfect to make the mug. A lot of you are going to want to roll it out fresh out of the bag, and you're going to want to form it, and don't do it, because you cut it out, it's just going to go bleh. All right, it's going to melt. So you could use the needle tool to cut it at an angle. I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to do an X-Acto knife. So this is an old X-Acto knife, and remember, I'm cutting it at an angle. So I'm going to try to draw the angle that you're going to do. So here's my slab, and I'm going to be cutting a 45-degree angle. So this little part is going to be cut away, and I'm going to do that on both sides. All right. So I'm going to hold it. So this is a 90 degree. You don't want to go straight up. We want to go halfway. And I put my thumb at the end, and this blade is I'm going to cut through, and I'm just going to touch it to my thumb. It's not going to cut me. The reason why I do that is because if I don't, I'll do it without doing it. Let's see if it'll do it. It kind of does that little bend at the bottom. If you have your thumb there, it doesn't do that bend. And then these little bits you could put in your slip. And then I'm flipping it over and doing the same cut. And now I'm going to bring it together. So now, when I bring it, those little 45s are going to line up. Okay, so I'm going to score it real quick. And if anybody has slip, can I borrow somebody's slip? Because I didn't grab any. I don't care whose it is. Let me grab a brush. Oh, thank you. All right. So I raked it up real good on each side. I'm going to add slip. And preferably I would be working on like my plastic mat at this point, because you don't want to get a lot of slip on your on the canvas because it just makes it gunky for somebody else. And I'm putting it generously on each side. Boop, 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 boop. A little bit more. All right. Now I'm going to bring those together, and I'm just lightly tacking it. Tacking it is just kind of like you're pushing a tack in a wall, but it's just a little bit. But I could only go down so far because my fingers don't reach. So I'm going to flip it over and do the rest. So just finger tapping it. So it kind of looks kind of like that, a little sloppy right now. Then I'm going to grab a pony roller. So put it over there. I have different sizes. And I'm going to roll up that seam. Some of the students haven't been using the pony roller. They've just been using like a wooden tool, like, I don't know, something like this to smooth it. But, so I'm going to use my hand. I'm only doing it like halfway down, and I'm supporting, this kind of my middle fingers in there, on that seam, and I'm just going to roll up. And I'm sorry you really can't see. Let me move my hand out of the way. There we go. I'm going to roll it up. And when I do that, slip that I don't need is going to start oozing out, and that's a good thing. You want it to ooze, so like that. Now I'm going to flip it over the other direction because I couldn't reach, and go down again, and again, oops, my finger inside supporting it, and roll it up. Alright, so I got something like that, and I'm just going to smooth this. So the next part is purely up to you. If you don't want to see your seam, then roll it and blend it. You could use the rubber rib to smooth it. Some people like to see their seam. Let me see if I have one where I did a seam intentionally. Like this one, you see the seam? I did it on purpose, a real big one. So it's up to you. Generally, when I do, let me find where you see a little bit. You could see a little bit, that little line, oops, is it going to focus? Right there is where my seam was. That's generally where I want to put my handle, okay? All right. So at this point, I want to go in and clean up that inside bit. And all I'm doing is, again, now I'm going to support on the outside, and I'm going to use a wooden tool, any kind that has a nice smooth part. You may come, doesn't matter which one, you might find your preference. And I'm not erasing that seam, I'm just kind of make it a little bit smoother so it's stronger. I'll do it to this side you'll be able to see it a little bit better. And then you can smooth it out as best you can. Now at this point I have to decide, do I want my cup to be fat at the top or skinny? I think I'm going to be fat at the bottom. Alright, and I want to make sure it's nice and round. If you need help with getting it round, you could use one of these terracotta pots, and you could set it in here, and it makes it like perfectly round. So just set it in there. You could let me set it in there like for a couple of minutes. This pot will absorb some moisture and make it stiffer. All right, so now I'm going to attach my bottom. So I'm going to bring this other slab closer, and I'm going to put this on top, and I'm going to trace it with, let me see which way is better for you to see. Okay, I'm just going to trace it with my needle tool very lightly. And then generally I like to do a little tick mark. So when I move it away, a little tick mark right here, because that tells me that's where my seam is. Because your cup isn't exactly perfectly round, all right? And if you have your phone out right now, can you please put it away? Thank you. All right, so again, I showed you last time that I like to see my foot. So I'm gonna cut my piece just the width of my needle tool bigger. And I'm cutting it just straight down. I'm going to go all the way around. So it's not much bigger. Boop. Like so. And then I don't need this jazz. And then I'm going to bring in, so my little tick mark was there. Now at this point, like on my bottom, if you want to do some designs or carving and make it look pretty on the inside, you can, or use your stamp. I'm going to flip this over. And I would prefer to use a serrated rib because it does more surface area, but I'm just going to heavily roughen this up. I'm going to do the same thing on the edge of this. Boop, boop. And then I'm going to add a lot of slip. And I'm not real neat with my slip because I know I could clean it up. And if your slip is on the dry side, so you could see how that consistency of mine is pretty good, I wouldn't want it any drier than this. But you could handle it being a little bit wetter if yours is wet. Alright, so I did this super heavy, and if you did yours light, I would do a light coating on that too. This, my excess, I'm going to put it in there, and I'll add water to your slip, okay? And then I'm going to park this puppy right on top. Alright, so it's fitting pretty good. Now all I'm going to do, I do have one. Okay. I'm going to tap. So if you have one of these banding wheels back there, it comes in handy. I'm just tapping all the way around and moving it just so it's stuck. Then I'm going to use my pony roller again, and I'm just lightly going around the whole thing, doing pressure going down. Once I go all the way around, now I'm going to slightly turn my pony roller. Yeah. So it's, can you see it? Yeah, a little bit. A slight angle. Again, I want to see my foot. So I've made it all the way around. So you can see there's a slight little bevel there. Now my next round, I'm going to go a little bit more because I want that bottom, it's going to be wrapping around the walls of my mug and kind of giving it a hug. And as I do this, slip is squirting out. Slip I don't need. So I want to see that kind of goopy stuff coming out. And you'll have to clean off your pony roller because it gets kind of dirty. And the next one, I'm going to go right in line with the walls of my mug. So like that. Okay. So I got something like that. Now this little edge right here, and I didn't grab water. All I would do is get brush with water and then paint over this stuff, and it'll totally smooth all that away. So it would look something like that. Then I'm going to flip it over, and you could see like the slip that's displaced inside. If you have it oozing out all the way around, that's a good thing. And then I'll just find another tool that I like to go down in there. Did I lose it? This one I'd probably find something a little bit longer, but you're just going to use it and go all around the edges, kind of doing a little bit of pressure just to smooth that seam. So I'm starting to go around. You're going to get lots of buildup of the slip because you're taking it away, and go all the way around. And then if you want to be even more precise, again, you could use your brush with some clean water and just go around there. Not a whole lot. You don't want to totally saturate it. And then, do you want me to show you how to form the rim? Anybody? Yeah, okay. Okay, that, I'm going to grab water. Water. So we're using that, the Soleil 60. So it does have a lot of sand in it. And what I'm doing, because I don't want my cup to be all squared off like that, because you're going to drink out of this. And that would be like, you put this to your mouth, you feel like you're going to bleed every time you try to take a drink. So I like to smooth it. So if you look at some of these, they're slightly rounded. It's all up to you how you do it. So I usually start by dipping 2 of my fingers in water, and I'm just going around the inside just a little bit, just so it's wet, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the outside. And I'm working quickly, and now I'm dipping like all of my fingers in the water, and I'm kind of doing a motion like, so I'm going like this and out, and it slightly smooths it and shapes it, because you want it to feel good, like the curve of your lip maybe. It's okay if it's straight, but you want it to be smooth. And then I'm going to just take a little bit more water and smooth out that little sandy bit. And voila! So I kind of have it something like that. When it dries a little bit more, I could smooth it a little bit better. But that's how you make the cup part. And then I could show you tomorrow. Maybe I'll put a handle on this puppy. All right? Okay. All right, I turn on lights. Anybody have questions for me? You good? Okay.